Good evening. You are tuning in to Awani Tonight with me, Cynthia Ng. No walkover in Sarawak state election. All 82 seats contested. And while GPS has the upper hand, it will face a tight battle in several constituencies. That's coming up. The stage is set for the 12th Sarawak election, with 349 candidates submitting their papers to be nominated this time. Election Commission Chairman Dato' Abdul Ghani Saleh said Dudong will be having the highest number of candidates, with 8 people contesting the seat. Targeting a 70% voter turnout for this election, Abdul Ghani believes voters in Sarawak will fulfill their civic duty despite the ongoing wet weather in the state. Now, despite Bersatu officially announcing their intention to not enter the Sarawak election, at least 4 of their members have gone against their party's wish and thrown their hats into the 12th state election to contest as independents.
The most high profile of them is Dato' Ali Biju, who will be defending the Krian seat he won in the 2011 and 2016 state elections under PKR. The other 3 Bersatu members who have disregarded their party's stand are Ismawi Muhammad in Muara Tuang, Ricky Enteri in Bawang Asan, and Siki Balarik in Belaga. Ismawi is Kota Samarahan's Bersatu chief, while Siki is the Hulu Rajang Bersatu chief. Meanwhile, Ricky is a youth activist based in the Cebu area. On November 27th, Bersatu President Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin had announced previously that the party will not contest in the PRN and will give full support to GPS candidates. Bersatu Information Chief Dato' Wan Saiful Wan Jan announced today that the party will take disciplinary action against all members who have thrown their hats into the Sarawak election ring.
With the end of nomination day, the focus now shifts to the campaign period. Can GPS repeat its dominant performance like in the previous elections when the parties contested under the Barisan national flag? Political analyst Dr. Arnold Puyok weighs in.
When you look at the lineup, 70%, roughly 70% of the candidates are old faces. Around 20% new faces. When I say new, they are not necessarily young people. They've been there in politics for quite some time, but now they're given the opportunity to contest in the election. So I think GPS is doing this carefully, so as not to cause internal friction or internal problem in the party. And this is also a signal to tell the people that GPS is serious about wanting to rejuvenate the coalition by including new people, young new people to participate in electoral politics.
He also believed that GPS will not have any troubles attracting support with its own logo, despite its existence was only recently established in 2019. Arnold said although GPS has the upper hand in the upcoming polls, it may face a tight battle with Parti Sarawak Bersatu PSB, especially in certain constituencies.
There are certain seats in which PSB is quite popular, especially in the Dayak areas. But the only issue with PSB is that they may be fielding new candidates, but then these new candidates will have a difficulty in terms of trying to introduce themselves to voters, given that SOP prevents them from moving around freely.
The Undi 18 Amendment and automatic voter registration has been gazetted and will take effect on December 15th. However, it will not be implemented in time for this Sarawak election. Dr. Arnold Puyok weighs in on if this would impact the results of the upcoming polls.
The thing about Undi 18 in the context of Sarawak is we do not have enough data to say that the young people have more inclination to vote for the opposition compared to the establishment. But if you go to Semenanjung Malaysia, for instance, there is a lot of data to say that in the last 2 elections, general election, the young people voted for the opposition. So I think whether or not the Undi 18 is implemented in Sarawak, it's not really. I mean, if you look at the young voters here, right? They have a different. Sarawak is different. It's a different state with different politics. The young people are not necessarily affected by issues like governance, issues like economic opportunities and all that. Some are affected by state issues like MS63, like autonomy, and things like that. So I think their support to the establishment may be determined by the ability of the establishment to deliver in terms of Sarawak's autonomy and MS63.
Will this third major pandemic-era election buck trends in terms of campaigning dynamics and voter enthusiasm? Tonight on Consider This, we ask our guests how the race is shaping up. The decision on whether Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi would be acquitted or ordered to enter his defence in a trial involving 47 criminal charges against him will be known on January 24th. Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sekera fixed the decision date after hearing the final submissions for both Ahmad Zahid's lawyers and the prosecution today. In this trial, the former Deputy Prime Minister faces 12 counts of criminal breach of trust in relation to charitable foundation Yayasan Akal Budi's funds, 27 counts of money laundering and 8 counts of bribery charges. Justice Sekera, although indicating a decision had not been made, also fixed 18 days beginning March 28, 2022 should the court order the UMNO president to enter his defence. A total of 99 prosecution witnesses had testified in the trial that began on November 18, 2019. Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor failed for the second time to nullify her corruption case linked to the 1.25 billion ringgit solar hybrid energy project in Sarawak. The Court of Appeal dismissed Rosmah's appeal to recuse Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram from leading the prosecution in the trial.
A three-man bench led by Judge Datuk Hanifah Fariqullah unanimously rejected Rosmah's appeal on the grounds that a criminal court does not have the jurisdiction to grant declarations sought by her. Rosmah was absent from the appeal proceeding last Thursday as she had been in Singapore to see her daughter Noriana Najwa Najib, who gave birth. Her lawyer Datuk Janggit Singh earlier apologized to the court on her behalf for her absence during last Thursday's proceeding, which led the case to be postponed to today.
We will go for a quick break. Stay with us.
Amanah di tangan kita. Adat, budaya dan semangat menjadi kesinambungan perpaduan tanah air yang tercinta. Berteraskan adab yang terpahat di jiwa dan raga. Marilah bersama kita membina negara Malaysia. Semua yang terjadi adalah berita, tetapi tiada siapa yang boleh bawakan yang terkini dan tergempar seperti kami.
Dilihat hanya memberi wang tanpa matlamat yang tepat. Dia tidak melakukan apa-apa kesalahan.
Untuk mendapatkan jawapan yang bermakna, kita perlu soalan yang tepat.
Amat sedih dengan apa yang berlaku ke atas.
Tiada ruang untuk berita palsu.
Negara kita telah merekodkan kes harian baru sebanyak
hanya fakta yang diberikan.
Amat penting untuk meneruskan perjuangan negara melawan pandemik ini.
Sentiasa memastikan suara anda, suara rakyat didengari.
Kenapa?
Membawakan apa yang penting di mana sahaja anda berada.
Kerana kita hendak putuskan rantaian jangkitan.
Belanjawan dan pendekatan bertemakan survival ini secara keseluruhan.
Teruskan bersama kami, Astro Awani, saluran berita yang paling dipercayai rakyat Malaysia.
Welcome back. With the current challenges facing our country, there is a pressing need to hit the reset button. Chairman of ASLI Centre of Public Policy Studies, Tan Sri Raymond Navaratnam, says Malaysia needs to adopt radical and structural changes to address the many economic and social issues it faces.
This is called for radical changes. They cannot be superficial. They must be structural. And whatever do I mean by structural? Change and improve the main issues causing problems in education, in health, in housing. Those social facilities have not been extended, and that's why the poor are getting poorer, the rich are getting richer. All this protectionism should go. The Malays are the ones who will suffer most, because most of the poor are Malays, and although they have reduced poverty, they could have done much more. I mean, a lot of these problems on the pandemic is because of poor housing, poor education, poor awareness, poor health facilities, especially in the rural and even some urban areas.
Tan Sri Raymond Navaratnam suggests revisiting the new economic policy established under the second Prime Minister Tun Abdul Razak's era to help with poverty reduction and address deep-rooted inequalities in society which have been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The NEP should be either modified or withdrawn, or better still, applied to all Malaysians. If you're poor, I don't care whether you're Karadan, Murut, Malay, Chinese or Indian, you deserve the best treatment. Let's have a bottom-up approach rather than top-down approach. And then you'll have the disparity between the rich and the poor being narrowed.
In order to assure these issues are addressed, Malaysia needs good and strong leaders who always have the rakyat in mind.
It really is good management. It's the old values you can bring in all the sophistication of management, but deep down it belongs to the value. The values are basically the same. No corruption, dedication, commitment to serve, tolong sama orang miskin. Have empathy is a better word. The leaders must be empathetic. They must remember where they came from. Think of the poor. The rich can look after themselves. They are mostly well-trained, educated, experienced. They should be, in fact, taxed more. We can't otherwise burn the candle at both ends. We're giving out a lot of funds now. Hopefully, they're well spent. They're not wasted on corruption. Having this family concept is good, but in a family, they all must be treated like. Can't treat some like stepchildren, and then you call disunity rather than unity. Finally, I would also add, if I may, please show results. Cakap banyak tak guna. Buat. Let their actions speak louder than words. Terima kasih.
Myanmar court today sentenced ousted democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi to 4 years jail for inciting dissent against the junta and breaching COVID-19 rules. This was the first verdict in her many trials since she was detained after the military coup in February.
Junta spokesperson said Suu Kyi was sentenced to 2 years jail under Section 505B and 2 years jail under natural disaster law. On top of that, the former Nobel Peace Prize recipient was hit with violating the Official Secrets Act, corruption and electoral fraud. She faces decades in jail if convicted on all counts. In recent weeks, trials of other ranking members of Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy have wrapped up. A former chief minister was sentenced to 75 years in jail this month, while a close Suu Kyi aide was jailed for 20 years.
Indonesia's Mount Semeru erupted again earlier today, forcing rescuers to suspend the search for survivors. People living near the volcano were told to remain vigilant after the eruption, as authorities warned of continued seismic activity. The tallest mountain on the island of Java erupted dramatically on Saturday, ejecting a mushroom of volcanic ash more than 12,000 meters into the sky. At least 15 people are known to have died, and nearly 50 had suffered injuries and burns. Indonesia's National Disaster Agency said 27 people were still missing. Semeru is one of more than 100 active volcanoes in Indonesia. The last time it erupted was in December 2020, forcing thousands of residents to take shelter. That is all we have for you on Awani Tonight. Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro Awani app. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching and good night.